It's the one and only the gorilla in the Econo Mist coming to you live on another edition of Hump Day with Bix and V. And I need no introductions, but I'm going to do it anyway for my man Bix. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He is the pathfinder on the road to Ruta. He is the baron of Bitcoin. He is the sultan of Silva. He is the Gandalf, the grand wizard of gold. He is none other than Bix Weird. The men hate him, revile him, they're jealous of him, and the women want to be with him. The one and only, the boy who is the golden boy, the only true golden boy from California, Bix Weird. Bix, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You've lost it. You've completely lost it. What was that accent? I don't even know what that was.
I don't even know. It just kicked in all of a sudden. I think it's the combination of too many macchiatos this morning, brother.
You've been entrained by the Hollywood machine.
That's what it is. I'm trying to break away. I'm trying to like decondition myself, but this keeps coming out, sir. I cannot overcome it. I think all
how's life on the Grizzly Path?
The life on the Grizzly Path has been so far. It's been pretty good. I'm trying to pre-order my Nintendo Switch. It can't pre-order it anywhere. It seems like the device is sold out everywhere. And yes, my Nintendo. I'm trying to pre-order a Nintendo Switch.
What's a Nintendo Switch? I am completely lost when it comes to
it is a console. Are you ready for this? Are you sitting down?
I am. Yes.
Okay. It is a console that you can play attached to your television. And at any moment, Bix, at any moment, you can just take it right off and it becomes a handheld device, voila, that you can take with you anywhere.
So my youngest, who sits in front of the TV playing every video game known to man, can now actually walk outside and play his video games and block out every single human being out there, huh?
Correct.
That's just great.
Yes, he no longer needs an additional smartphone to go find his Pokemon. He can bring his Nintendo Switch with him and find Pokemon on his own, man.
Great.
Sold out everywhere. I can't find it for the life of me. It's a little trip down memory lane. That's all, being an 80s kid, so.
Yeah. Well, anything that doesn't involve Bitcoin or silver, I don't really think about or talk about.
Well, what if I told you there's going to be Bitcoin exchanges that you can set up with your new Nintendo Switch app?
Well, that would work. Well, depending on what those exchanges are, which we'll get into.
We'll get into that later. Anyway, bro, let's start off the broadcast. Our favorite bank, a traditional bank that is always mentioned upon this program, is once again in its news because of the wonderful earnings report that has come up with it. So, Deutsche, what's going on with Deutsche?
Well, they're going to axe the bonuses by 90%, I hear.
Oh!
Well, I don't know why the 10% made it through, but crazy. But rumors last year, that China was going to bail out Deutsche Bank's derivative book for a little while seem to have come true because they didn't implode yet.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about the derivative losses anymore. And that apparently has been swept completely under the table, at least for now, which is really interesting because, we're hitting that point now where Europe is imploding. The sovereign debt is imploding and Greece is going to need another bailout and these Italian banks are going down. Everybody's been kind of just waiting on the new Trump administration. And it's really bizarre to see the whole world kind of on hold until the Trump people get in place, which supposedly is going to happen in a couple days, 2 days now. It's not a done deal yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy out there, and I'm very afraid for America. George Soros is paying for everybody to go ballistic, marching on Washington. And I did hear of something called, what was it called? Bikers for Trump.
Yeah.
Has got like 200,000 bikers going to Washington to kind of counteract the Million Woman March.
The Million Woman. It's going to be basically. It's going to be basically Rachel Madcow, Rosie O'Dumful, and Susan Saran Wrap, and maybe a few other Hollywood leftists that are going to be marching in that so-called 1,000,000 minus 999,000 march.
Yeah, I don't see. There's going to be. It's like there's all this high octane fuel flowing into Washington D.C. and they're taking out the guy who is in head of security.
What is up
being
with that,
removed at 12:01 at the moment of the swearing in?
Yeah, man, 12:01.
This is the head of the DC National Guard, right?
Yeah, the head of the DC National Guard. Now the question is this guy a bad guy in disguise who was a probable threat, or was he somebody that's been removed because there's something they're going to try to pull off something nefarious? Because the cocaine import agency can't leave well enough alone, man.
Well, yeah, and they all know they're in trouble. So yeah, the possibility of a false flag between now and Friday is very high.
Huge.
And this guy, he gave his notice supposedly to Obama when Trump. It was finalized that Trump was actually going to make it into the Oval Office. And then, everybody's saying, well, Trump's the one who decided to take his resignation. But I don't know about that, because he got the memo of when he's supposed to leave office at 12:01 in the afternoon, the day of the inauguration. He got that memo from the Pentagon, who is still run by Obama. So everybody's saying, no, it was Trump who decided to remove him. I think Trump just accepted his resignation, and then Obama's throwing as many problems into the way as they can for Trump. And they said, okay, your service is done, and you are completely out at 12:01 p.m. on Friday, right during the inauguration, right when, he's got this gigantic operation going on to secure Washington D.C. So yeah, anything could happen these days, and I don't know what's behind all that. Even he did give an interview saying, I have no idea why they're taking me out of this situation at the height of when you need someone there.
Yeah,
false flag coming, probably, maybe, who knows.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of things that are being built up whatsoever. I mean, it's crazy. Like, we don't quite know who's doing what at this stage. There's such a fog of war from people from like guys like us who are on the outside looking in, trying to decipher it to the best ability that we possibly have. There's a lot going on under the surface, man. I think, most Americans take for granted how tranquil things are kind of looking, and it's just a little protest. But there is an internal war that is definitely raging, bro. I'm with you on that.
And I mean, if we want to talk about the Trump appointees for a little bit here,
sure.
I think there's some that are completely wrong to be put there. But I don't think it's a wrong calculation on Trump's part. Let's just talk about the guy who gets grilled starting tomorrow, Steve Mnuchin.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's a freaking beyond criminal market rigger. I mean, he's the guy who is the head of IT for Goldman Sachs. Mm-hmm. And the reason he got to be head of IT, he was in charge of, first of all, his dad goes back as a board member of Goldman, since the 50s. And so he's knee deep in the banking cabal. And he was in charge of commodity trading, of course, at Goldman. And then, he put his computer rigging acumen into play, and then they put him in charge of IT. He's the CIO of Goldman. And then he went off to start a company called SFM Capital with none other than George Soros.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down this guy's list of accomplishments, and he is a criminal beyond criminals.
Yeah.
And
definitely one of the dirtiest players in the game.
He apparently he's going through, they're doing all the mock grilling sessions behind the scenes, and he's not doing very well. I have a real sneaking suspicion that Trump knew that whoever he put as Treasury Secretary, the Democrats would just chew him up and not allow that person to get in.
Yeah.
I think Trump is putting this guy Mnuchin in just to get chewed up in the meat grinder, because there's so many things they can. I mean, he was foreclosing on old ladies in California.
Wow.
With they'd have like $1,000 left on their payment, but they missed it, and he ran the bank. What was it called? One West Bank. They were notorious for foreclosing, basically stealing houses from people who were, they wouldn't renegotiate the deals.
So he's a grade A asshole.
Oh, hugely, and he's going to get ripped apart starting tomorrow from the Democrats, who they're still pissed off about the whole housing thing that the banksters got away with. There were hundreds of people protesting in front of Mnuchin's house not too long ago. This guy was like the point man for the bad deeds of foreclosure fraud and all that. So I don't see any way this guy's going to make it through the gauntlet of the the congressional stuff.
You think he's meant to be the not only the straw man, but also the sacrificial lamb?
One of many.
Yeah.
The other guy, the other obvious one, who I've been writing about since I think it was 2000 and it was the very beginning of when the SLV came in. I think it was 2005, 2006, something like that. This guy, Vincent Viola.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the guy, the head of Virtu Financial. Remember that company that never had a lost day, a day trading loss in like 18 months, a perfect record?
Yep.
And he was, here's his background. And now he's being put in charge of the Army, which is very bizarre. And General Mathis is all pissed off about it. He's like, why are we putting this asshole in charge of the Army? He went to West Point, but he graduated in 1977, which is like the year they had this big cheating, problem.
Right.
And it was like famous back then because, you're screwing up the honor code that you won't cheat, lie, and steal or whatever. Some ridiculous honor code that nobody follows anyway. Right. But so he gets out of West Point. He didn't get busted. He got, I guess he covered his tracks well enough. He was interviewed and under suspicion, but nobody, had enough goods on him. He gets out of the Army. He services, I think it's 5 years you have to do after West Point. And then he leaves and goes to Wall Street right away. And then within Wall Street, he starts computer trading, computer market rigging. He, at the same time, Bernie Madoff was developing the programs that later turned into the NASDAQ. Sure. That's where Bernie Madoff got his start.
That's where he made off. That's where Madoff made off with his fortune.
It was all computer rigging. I mean, that's the amazing thing. Remember, Madoff had like 5 people in his office. This guy, Vincent Viola, has the same thing, and he went off, started the NYMEX.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and he was the chairman of the NYMEX, and then he started this company called EWT LLC, which I ran into in looking at the authorized participants of the SLV, the silver ETF.
Sure.
And it was only 30 employees that they had, and they controlled they were a market maker in like 30 markets around the world. They did the most volume. I'm like, how in the world can this happen? And it all comes back to he's a computer expert too. And he was doing the same thing as Bernie Madoff in the basement of his place. He split off and left the NYMEX and started EWT LLC and Tyler Madison. And then him and his partner at the time, I forgot the guy's name, but they worked directly for Robert Rubin when he was at Goldman. So they were all part of the rigging mechanisms for gold and silver. And those are the guys that need to go to jail, not need to be in these high places of government. David Solomon was his partner, who was a big Goldman guy. And these are market rigging criminals to the nth degree. They're the part of the bad guys rigging, apparatus. And if Trump thinks that he's going to get away with further rigging the markets by putting these assholes into spots that they can do that, then we have a gigantic problem with Trump.
Or there's another card here that's being played that we don't know.
Well, not the card that oh, we need their expertise because they know the inside. That's a bunch of crap. All you got to do is make it illegal to rig markets and uphold that law. You don't need to get under the underwear of these companies. It's easy to stop. You walk in and say, how many trades are you doing, JP Morgan, on the COMEX? And you say, why do you trade back and forth with yourself and these other banks, and why do you collude with them? I mean, we have all the evidence to put Deutsche Bank and friends in jail for silver manipulation, but they're not doing it. Why aren't they doing it? If Trump's not in office yet, I get that. But come Friday, if Trump says, oh, well, in order to keep things going, we talked about this last week, we're going to keep this game going, I think that is the worst thing you can do for America.
Right.
And I mean, I love a lot of these moves that Trump's making, and I think they're the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do, and I don't think that these guys will make it through the gauntlet. I hope they don't.
Yeah.
There was already talk.
What if they don't? Like, what if they don't make it to the gauntlet? What do you
see,
think
that's the other thing.
There? That they're not supposed to make it to the gauntlet, and then he gets his real guys that he really wants in there?
Or maybe they're already in there. Maybe he gets to appoint the undersecretary of the Treasury or whoever's number 2 in charge without going through the gauntlet of congressional hearings, because he's not the number 1 man.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of stuff, I'm hoping. Yeah, I hope this Mnuchin guy does not make it, and that will leave us with no head of the U.S. Treasury, and the president is the one who makes the call on the Exchange Stabilization Fund. He can shut it down or he can keep it going, and he does it through the head of the Treasury. So Trump can make that call on day 1 if he wants, and it doesn't take much to destroy the system. All it takes is him to say, "Okay, ESF fund, stand down now. Shut off your computers, walk away."
Right.
And then everything goes into chaos, which I don't think we want. I don't think he wants. But at the same time, we're getting to that point where it's like you can't pick and choose the things you want to turn around and make America great without fixing the biggest problem is the bad guys and take them out of the picture. And the only way to take them out of the picture is to remove their source of wealth. And their source of wealth is this electronic game they call the unbacked fiat monetary system.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah, I know we talked about this a lot last week, and we could go round and round and round. But I think,
honestly speaking, though, it is a great topic for discussion. And honestly speaking, I think it's a very focal point, because this is the pivot right here, man. This is the pivotal issue. What's going to happen? Who are the key players? What are their roles? Who's going to get sworn in? Who's going to get sworn out? I think they're one of the few guys who are actually bringing this to light out there in the whole entire sphere of
we'll know more tomorrow, because
exactly.
Mnuchin goes in front of. I'm going to be watching that. I think that will be pure entertainment, especially on the Democrat side, and they're gonna bring it up. Here's a grandmother, Joanne Smith, who had $500 left on her mortgage before she owned her house outright. There was $100,000 in equity, and your bank went in there and foreclosed on it, took the money, and kicked her out of her house. Who are you? Who do you think you are? I could just see it. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's going to be also exciting is if these guys are going to make it or not. And then on top of it, what's going to happen on Inauguration Day with all the other things? I mean, you heard about that whole entire they wanted to bomb using butyric acid.
They wanted the stink bombs on the what do they call it? The Trump. The gala dance or something like that.
Yeah, the deplorable ball.
Yeah, the deplorable ball. Yeah, they wanted to. Yeah, there's all kinds of these people out there, the kind of activist neocon leftists that are teaming up with the true neocons, and they're doing anything and everything they can to stop Trump, or at least take away his power, because they know one thing. If Trump gets in, like Clinton said, if Trump gets in, they all go to jail. And I think we are so close to that. watch for false flags, watch for, if the good guys are in charge now in the background, I don't think anything very big will get pulled off. But if they, they're going to try, because, I mean, it's not just, pulling their name through the mud. We're talking, treason with a maximum penalty of death for some of these people in Washington. And I think, if you committed treason, you should go to trial and trial by jury. And if it's bad enough what you did, you should be killed for it.
Absolutely.
The law. So yeah, that's their, some of these people in Washington, on the Democrats and the Republicans. I mean, this is a life or death game for them. So yeah.
Well, I don't know what John McCain and his girlfriend Lindsey Graham. I don't know what they're going to be doing.
They'll be in jail. They'll be some of the first in jail.
Speaking of jail, did you hear the goings on is in the Clinton Foundation? Did you hear about the FBI wiretap? It was a supposed wiretap from the FBI that caught a couple of Clinton underlings talking about money laundering right through the foundation. Did you hear about that?
I didn't, but I do know they have 650,000 emails, videos, audios. They got all the dirt they need to bust the Clinton Foundation for everything from treason to pedophilia to ritual murder to you name it, they got it. So, anything that comes to light, I think it's interesting, but it's not like they need more evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was it? What were they saying?
Well, they were saying that they caught two Clinton underlings speaking about money laundering, and they caught them with that. And then the other thing is also that while this FBI investigation is going on, this is the New York branch of the FBI alongside with the NYPD and Preet Bharara, who was like this Rudy Giuliani type district attorney, was an absolute animal at going after the Clintons, and Preet's unwavering. And so ever since the investigation had intensified, ever since they got the laptops from Uma Abedin and Elliot, what the hell's guys, the Anthony Weiner. I was going to call him Anthony Schnitzel, but Anthony Weiner.
Yeah, from their love nest.
Yeah, from their love nest. That's when this whole thing really intensified. So it's quite remarkable to see this type of move. So that's the whole thing, man. So it's pretty remarkable. So they haven't let off the heat, man.
They need to be tried, and I don't think whether Hillary is still alive is kind of a question mark. I hear Bill is on his last days due to AIDS, but nothing confirmed on that.
Is it AIDS? I don't know if it's AIDS. I don't know if it's.
He looks pretty sickly, if you ask me.
I mean, what Milo Yiannopoulos said about him is absolutely correct. I'm trying to figure out what the STD is that he caught.
Yeah, it could be anything. But yeah, and didn't the WikiLeaks guy Assange come out and say that the leaker of the Clinton emails was that guy Seth Rich? Is it Seth Rich, the guy that was murdered?
Yeah.
The Clinton IT specialist who was murdered, I think the last summer. Obviously by someone who's trying to cover that up, but it's out in the open. It's not like the FBI or the New York Police Department, which I hear is leading the pedophilia stuff as far as the Clintons. It's not like they need more evidence. They have plenty of evidence. They need to show. That's the other thing. The other thing I've been thinking about a lot is that how could Trump win over the other half of the country? And I think it's very easy to do. Just show people the truth about the people that they were supporting.
Yeah.
Show people the truth about Hillary Clinton, and show people the truth about some of these Democrats who, claim to be fighting for the black and the underprivileged people in America, but are actually doing exactly the opposite. They're purposefully holding them down. And once people understand the truth, then they'll get on board and start supporting Trump and say, "Oh my God, he was right all along." how could we have been so blind? Some people never will, no matter what evidence they're put in front of them. But if you do it, and if you show some of these videos that supposedly are in the Anthony Weiner tapes of Hillary Clinton and pedophilia and taking bribes and her crazy temper and her her disease that she has or whatever she has,
Kuro, possibly Kuro.
Just expose all these lies and say, so that the people who are still anti-Trump can finally say, oh my God, he was right all along. Can you believe this? And then you'll have a country that is looking forward to the future and will support the massive changes that need to happen. So it's a very easy problem to solve, but no one's going to pull that plug until Trump gets in the office and gets his people where they need to be. I'm really interested in the secret that Obama told Trump when they met. And it wasn't really reported in the U.S. news, but it was reported by the BBC. And they asked Trump about it, and they said, we hear there's some secret that Obama told you that is a gigantic problem. What was it? And Trump said, I'm not the president now. I was very surprised to hear it, and it is something you should ask him.
Huh.
So what could it be? You name it. It could be, we've been rigging the markets and you're going to have to keep the rigging up. Or, we found these pyramids and technology in Antarctica. That's why everybody's going down there. Or it's that, there's a gigantic pedophile ring that we don't know how to shut down. It could be like a million different things. It could be all of the above.
It could be. It could be he was telling him the secret of his horrible golf game.
Yeah, that is possible. And I think he played the second most rounds of golf in the history of the presidency. Because there was somebody who played a lot of golf.
It was, well, the only person that I think that beat him was, I think, Herbert Hoover. I'm not exactly
sure. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. But Obama did, in the modern age, with all the things that's going on in the world, more than any other politician on the planet, I think, except for maybe Nicolas the Sweetness Maduro from Venezuela, who doesn't play golf. I know he just likes to dance the bachata all day long while his country is going down the toilet with no toilet paper. The bachata, I don't know, some sort of dance, maybe the samba, the little bachata, a little merengue.
It just float off your tongue. I have no
idea. It's just coming off me. It's that, it's the spicy side that's just coming out, man. I'm feeling the groove, Bix. I'm feeling the groove. So, apart from all the dancing that Maduro's doing, I think Obama has put in over 306 rounds of golf, and right now, as we speak, he's off on vacation again.
Well, I think he gives his final press conference today.
Yeah, good riddance, man. All these, all these liberal tears that were just coming out. It was wonderful watching all of them cry, and the press crying because they know that next year, within 48 hours, it's going to be the alt media joining them in the press box.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Can you imagine you and I in there, Bix, together? Woohoo!
Oh, I just ask all the silver questions. Hey, Deutsche Bank has already admitted to rigging the silver market for the last 10 years. Why don't you do anything about it? Why isn't there any charges being pressed by the CFTC? Why is the silver market still rigged? Can you please answer these questions, Mr. Trump?
Man, I just pictured you asking me those questions. I'd be nervous just to answer you.
Oh, I didn't give up on silver. I've done. It's like once you get a ton of facts, all you're doing is reproving a proven theory. Yeah. I've proven that the markets are rigged 100%. I've proven who does it and why. I've proven all this stuff, and everybody in the silver market still like, oh my God, silver went up because the dollar went down. No, it didn't go up because the dollar went down. It went up because they clicked the mouse in the basement of the Treasury to make it go up. So, things like that. I don't fight the silver fight as much as I used to because it's all out there. All my articles are out there. I think silver is an amazing story, and it's going to do great things the very day the manipulation ends, and you have to have your silver in your hand now. I have been talking. Well, he kind of isn't talking to me anymore. My mole at the U.S. Mint, because I started questioning him. They released the 2017 Silver Eagles. First day was 3.7 million coins. I mean, the biggest month they've ever had was, I think, in the 7 or 8 million range. And I'm like, well, if on the first day you've sold 3.7, this is going to be just a monster month for Silver Eagles. And then they didn't post sales for over a week. And usually they do it every single day, and nothing. I think just yesterday they posted another number. Now it's up to 4.7. But it used to be daily, and now they're trying to hide something because they can't say, they haven't put on allocation. So, but they can't say, oh, by the way, we've sold 10 million Silver Eagles this month, and we're expecting to sell more and more and more. So yeah, the U.S. Mint is in on the game. They're actually one of the largest hedgers of silver, if you didn't know that. And the hedging of silver, supposedly they hedge their inventory, even though they don't have inventory because they can't keep up with public demand. So that's a fraudulent hedge book right there. And why the Mint is hedging, is allowing, and they hedge it. HSBC used to be their hedger. I don't know who does it now. But they're allowing these banks to rig the price of silver because they can legitimize their massive trade. We're just hedging for customers like the U.S. Mint. And since when is the U.S. Mint a profit center? Or the law doesn't even say anything about the Mint making a profit. The Silver Eagle law, all it says is you will mint coins in quantities to meet public demand. Whether or not you make money or lose money is irrelevant to that law, and they know it, and they know that it is their job and their duty to go out. If they run out of silver blanks, they need to bid higher for the silver blanks. Don't just stop making coins and say, oh, it's on allocation. Go out there and bid an extra buck for a silver blank, and you'll get it, because they make enough to, you can do 200 million a year instead of the, sub 50 million. And they purposefully do that. I'm reading all this stuff about last year was, it was an okay year for silver, but a great year for gold. The whole year it was on allocation, and they shut it down a month and a half early. So yeah, there's a lot of fraud going on at the U.S. Mint, and there shouldn't be fraud within a government entity that is so important to our future, the minting of coinage. And so, yeah, I'll keep that fight going. Everybody should be looking at the U.S. Mint website where they announce silver sales, and they should update it every day, and they're not.
Interesting. Very interesting. Which brings us to the next thing, my friend.
Bitcoin, gotta be. Bitcoin?
Yes.
Loving Bitcoin. It pulled back from all-time highs as everybody expected. It's back on this high trend. Just today, it pulled back, they say, because China was, investigating the exchanges. The exchanges are the problem.
Right.
And China knows it. For Bitcoin to be stable and a sound place to invest, you need stable exchanges.
Correct. And the two major exchanges that were under trouble, I think it was OKCoin and Hoi Boy, whatever how do you pronounce it? Hoi Boy.
And they got busted for fraud, for rehypothecation, for loaning money to bid on non-Bitcoin. Yep. These are derivative exchanges. I keep yelling and screaming to people that these are they're pooled Bitcoins. So if you go into BTCC or Haboyi or whatever you call that one, you're not going to buy Bitcoin until you pull that out. Pull your Bitcoin out. That's a real Bitcoin transaction that gets recorded on the blockchain. The trading that goes on within these exchanges is just trading back and forth to other people within the exchanges. Those are not Bitcoin transactions. They're not recorded on the blockchain. It's an exchange. It's a trading floor. The same thing goes on at every other exchange. When you buy from Coinbase, until you pull it out of Coinbase, you're part of the pool, and those aren't Bitcoin transactions. Yes, they have to go out and buy Bitcoin to put into the pool, and then when you take your Bitcoin out of Coinbase, that is a Bitcoin transaction that will get recorded on the blockchain. Anything within those exchanges or the online wallets is not a Bitcoin transaction and is subject to third-party risk. And the Chinese exchanges were going absolutely crazy with trading because there was no commissions on the trading. So they're trading millions and millions of Bitcoins per day. I think it was 5 million per day. Yeah. When only 15 or 16 million coins have ever been mined.
Yeah.
So every day you're trading 5 million Bitcoins, something is wrong because you annualize that, 5 times 365 days in a year, because Bitcoin trades 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So massive problems at the exchanges, and that's what China is doing. The China regulator is coming in and saying, we don't want massive problems with Bitcoin.
Yeah,
that was the problem with the monetary system and the stock exchanges and the COMEX and the NYMEX was massive rehypothecation. It's pools of stocks and pools of gold and silver exchanges. You're not trading the real thing. In Bitcoin, they're trying to stop that practice, and I will guarantee you that the largest manipulators of Bitcoin price are the people like JP Morgan, who understand exchanges and understand Bitcoin, and they're in there to shake up the market. I think they've given up on trying to block Bitcoin. I think they have resigned themselves. It's kind of like silver. They gave up on trying to block silver. That's why JP Morgan is loaded up on over 500 million physical ounces of silver, because they know the exchange, the electronic game is going to end, and there's a huge difference between holding your Bitcoin or your silver in an exchange versus holding it in your own hand. And it's amazing. We're at an amazing time. The big question left for me is, what's Trump going to do about manipulation in the markets?
Yeah.
Because it'll piss off all his friends, because all his rich friends will end up with zero, nothing. Other than the ones who know to hold gold and silver, and I think very few of them know about Bitcoin, but some do. It's clear that a lot of U.S. Government representatives in Congress own Bitcoin and are getting ready for that transition.
The whole thing is that is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, no pun intended.
What is
the manipulation? That's the last shoe to fall, bro.
Oh yeah.
The last shoe to fall.
And you could tell manipulation through volumes. Yeah. You're trading a commodity like silver. Maybe there's in the world physical silver that you can get your hands on. Maybe there's 5 billion ounces, including all your tea sets and your solar panels and all that. But the reality is, when the markets are trading, the COMEX, I think, traded 80 billion ounces last year. The LBMA is over 100 billion a year. I mean, it's insane. And the monetary silver is maybe 2 billion ounces out there, and you're trading 100, 200, 300 times the amount of physical out there. And there is no exchange that values the price of physical silver. They're all electronic exchanges. And that's a problem. And even SLV, the great ETF that was supposed to free silver 10 years ago, wherever it was set up, in 5 days, the total float of SLV trades hands. And no, they don't put, the shorting. They allow shorting on gold and silver ETFs, which means that people who buy the ETF expect the manager of the ETF to go out and buy silver for them and put it in that exchange. It's not happening. They just short it, and then they'll cover their shorts after a while when they can find the silver. And all that silver in the SLV warehouse is also claimed by the COMEX and the LBMA and silver certificates. It's all the same silver that's being, claimed as property of someone, and it's all in a gigantic pool, just like the stock certificates. And when this game ends, it's going to be really ugly, because it's a game of musical chairs, and there's like one chair left in every market, and there's 1,000 people claiming that they own part of that chair, and everybody's going to try to sit in it. And the people who will walk away scot-free are the people who control the physical metal. JP Morgan, great example. Or the warehouses in London where they keep the SLV silver and the GLD gold. I mean, at the end of the day, he who holds the metal makes all the rules, because they'll just walk away with it, because the paper game is over. Well, they call it paper. It's really electronic, but it's over. And the day that everybody realizes that is going to be a very scary day indeed.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It truly is. Did you hear about all the hubbub in Davos? The latest information coming out of Davos, man, which you might find very funny, and I think you and I would both get a very good laugh at it, was my favorite, the giraffe-necked woman called Christine Lagarde, who is sitting in a panel, mind you, wearing a jacket that has extremely large collars in order to hide her giraffe neck. And you want to know something? I'm telling you, man. Ever since I started calling her the giraffe-necked woman of the IMF about 2 years ago, she all of a sudden started wearing scarves. I don't know if the word has gotten out, but Christine, I know you're out there listening. So anyway, Christine Lagarde.
I thought she got tried and convicted for some crime.
Yes, a convicted criminal, absolutely, for all sorts of tax crimes, for bribery. I mean, you name it. The tax criminal, this convicted criminal, who should be thrown in jail, but is not, because they don't want to make an example out of her. She is sitting in Davos with none other than Larry the Lurch Summers. Okay? And Ray...
That's to be expected.
Of course. Oh, it gets better. And then Ray, I don't know what I'm doing here, Dalio. And they're discussing how to help the middle class. And what Lagarde, the giraffe-necked woman of the IMF, what Lagarde has put forth as a solution, Bix, is to fight against populism, is to institute wealth redistribution.
Yeah, and who gets to decide that? She does, and Larry Summers does. That's the biggest problem, according to Greenspan, of central banking, is they decide who gets what, and they use various means, mainly interest rates. And yeah, that's a game that, see, they've lost the place of authority is the problem. When the crash happens, no one's going to believe the people who were in charge of the old system, and that's another reason why the manipulation needs to end and the crash needs to happen, is because we need to take out those people who claim monetary power these days. The people in the IMF, the people at the Fed, people at the Treasury, the people who have run our system for so long, the George Soroses of the world. We need to crash that system, because a new system, everybody agrees a new system needs to be put in place. The question is, how do you agree on a new system? And that's the impossible $64 billion, trillion dollar, quadrillion dollar question, is that it can't be done, is the reality. And the IMF is going to want to jump in and say, hey, we have special drawing rights. And if the system has crashed, everybody will look at the IMF and say, hey, you belong in jail. Why are you telling us about these things called special drawing rights?
Here's a special drawing right. I specially draw your name out of the hat to be arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just another sign that the good guys and the bad guys both know the system is crashing, both need it to crash for their own purposes. And yeah, the Larry Summers of the world, who, the scariest thing about Larry Summers these days is he's on the board of 21 Inc. And 21 Inc. is that Bitcoin company that's trying to put a Bitcoin mining chip on every cell phone, which I think is a great idea, and they'll be the richest company in the world. But having Larry Summers there is a problem.
Exactly, and then knowing Larry the Lurch Summers, Larry Lurch Summers would probably have some sort of backdoor to that chip, while your smartphone is mining bitcoins, every Bitcoin that it generates will probably be recorded back to them and then reported to some governmental agency.
Oh, definitely. Well, no, that is the business model, is that they would put these mining chips on phones, and they would get some, and the owner of the phone would get some of the Bitcoin mined. But when you think about it too, I mean, that could get to a place where everybody gets a free phone, because the more Bitcoin miners, the more that, you know.
That subsidizes the phone. Kind of like what Amazon's doing. You can get like subsidized phones from Amazon for like Android phones for like $50, $40, because as long as you allow Amazon to run their ads on the lock screen, you know, you get a subsidized device.
I mean, there'll be new business models taking place. There's all kinds of things coming down the pike. Everybody is just on hold around the world, waiting for the Trump administration to get in, waiting to see if the United States can do this thing with a smooth transition or not. I believe not. Unless you're going to try to rig the markets. If you're going to try to rig the markets, I wouldn't call that a smooth transition. I'd call that a continuation of what we had before. The same people will be in power. The same misallocation of wealth throughout the world will still be intact. And, you know, at the end of the day, even if Trump tries to give it a couple months of market rigging, or slowly let the price of silver and gold rise, the reality is you're basing the system on fraud. And that fraud's got to go away if we're ever going to move forward. So if it goes away on January 20th, if it goes away in a couple months, if it goes away in a couple years, it's still going to go away, and it's just going to delay our ability to move forward.
I agree wholeheartedly, my friend. I agree wholeheartedly. Which brings us to the next thing, which is what do you think is? I mean, we got a lot of challenges. I mean, you know, this morning I was speaking about what is that idiot? Oh, the idiot in the State Department, Victoria Nuland.
Nuland. Oh my God, he's the one who said "F the EU," right?
Yeah, F the EU, Victoria Nuland, who is out there creating havoc.
We're all pissed off that Russia's, getting into our markets or into our elections.
They're getting into our underwear,
and influencing them, but it's okay for us to do it.
Yeah.
When Victoria Nuland was placing the person in charge of, what was it, the Ukraine?
Yeah.
Unbelievable hypocrisy in the United States right now.
That's disgusting, dude. And you figure that this tripe of a woman, this woman who looks like the brunette Hillary Clinton, probably a clone, probably like just an evil person. Her last thing leaving office is to create more issues in Cyprus before she leaves, and they're just not stopping with the sabotage, man. So going into this new year, I mean, there's a lot of challenges that are ahead. That, you know, Obama, rather than, you know, quietly going into the night into the golf course somewhere, he has created quite a mess before he leaves, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, but remember, in 2 days, Trump can cancel all the
executive orders. Speaking of executive orders, man, I was sitting in Starbucks for a few moments of my time today, consuming a latte macchiato, and on my alerts, it just came out that the Obama administration was the most legislatively lame duck administration in history, in the sense of how many laws it passed. He passed less laws under his guidance, under his observation, than Jimmy Carter did. And Carter was a 4-year unpopular presidency, right? So this guy, 8 years sitting there, he passed like nothing. Practically nothing. Obamacare.
Well, what he did was use the executive orders.
Executive order. And that he did with aplomb. He did with, he set records with that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And executive orders are, if you ask me, I don't know. I don't think they've ever gone to the Supreme Court and said, hey, let's talk about these things called executive orders and whether or not they're constitutional. Yeah. I don't think they are at all. No, I mean, that's passing law without going through Congress.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Guy's a tyrant.
Where is the where's the legal system? Where's the Supreme Court saying, hey, executive orders were not part of the Constitution. They haven't been added to the Constitution, I don't think.
No, never.
So why are they legal? Why do we listen to them at all? And how it's like, how can Obama change, the Affordable Care Act after it was passed into law and then add all these addendums to it without going for approval?
Exactly, man.
I mean, the whole system is so, and then it kind of gets back to that, on the conspiracy side, is this really the United States of America, or is it the United States of America Corporation, which supposedly happened in the 1800s? They changed our governance.
Yeah.
When the U.S. went bankrupt, I don't know.
The 33 bankruptcy.
Right. But you got all kinds of things behind the scenes that may have been agreed to or not agreed to, or a legal system, thought it up. At the end of the day, the legal system needs to change. All the laws need to go away for the most part that are unconstitutional, which is probably close to all of them, because we have a constitution, and that tells the federal government that your ability to change things is defined by this constitution. Anything outside of the realm of these specific items goes to the state.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, I think it's 35 million people right now work or contracting with our federal government. And that's just insane.
It's it's total insanity, bro. It's total insanity. And you know what? This year begins the start of the whole dismantling. And I hope we get this done. I mean, we could hopefully have a better future, bro. Well, I mean, let's just wait and see. Let's see what happens.
Right. Yeah. And I'm excited. I think I'm scared and excited.
Make sure. Did you get your cheap champagne ready? I'm ready. I'm going right now to the local bodega around this corner. And
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in California. Champagne. Remember, I'm in California. I hear all the snowflakes are turning into preppers now, which is interesting.
I just hope they don't shoot themselves with some accidental discharge. I mean, that's probably going to happen with these snowflakes that have no experience with firearms.
Well, I am working. I have been working on my. Every year I do a timeline of when I think things will happen, and this year's has been the hardest, definitely, about timing for prices of silver and prices of gold, prices of Bitcoin. But I think I'm getting it. I know that Trump's not going to end it on day one.
No, I can't.
But I do think he is going to end the manipulation of the markets. And the question is, how long will it smooth out? Will it be months? Will it be years?
Yep.
How long will it take to get to a point? And how long will the people put up with market manipulation? I mean, the gold and silver people are absolutely fed up with the rigging of the gold and silver markets. And I think China's not going to allow the rigging of the Bitcoin markets. So, yeah, I think Bitcoin is going to run first, and then they'll let gold up a bit, and then silver will be last, but silver will be the mother of all coiled springs releases, because it's been rigged and suppressed for 150 years. And that is just so ginormous as far as the potential energy behind the silver move. So yeah, very exciting time for Bitcoin, very exciting time for silver. Gold, yeah, it'll do all right, but there's a lot of gold out there. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of where I am. I'm doing this report. It's for the private road, my private subscribers. I gotta give them something, right?
Yep.
And keeps the lights on at the road to Ruta. So yeah, if anybody wants my take on when this timing will happen, and I lay out month to month where I think the pricing is going to be for gold, silver, and Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I should have that done by tomorrow morning, and that'll go out.
Awesome. All right, dude, give out your plug. We're at the end of the show. Give out your plug, and
that was it.
That was it.
That was it. Go to roadtoruta.com. Go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to start posting some smaller video. I know I usually post like hour or 2 hour videos, but I'm going to do smaller ones because because the YouTube generation likes those little small bites.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
I like it too, though. I
should do a Snapchat. See, I would do a Snapchat once I come out of the closet. I mean, that doesn't sound right. I mean, when I come out of the
gorilla the gorilla out of the mist, right?
Yes, the gorilla out of the mist. That's it. So when I do my physical debut, then I'll get the whole the Snapchat thing going, and we'll have some fun, dude. I want to fly you to New York to do Hump Day live in Times Square. We're gonna do it. I'm telling you, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it right in Times Square, right by where everybody's sitting down. We're gonna rent it out. We're gonna do it live, bro. It's gonna be awesome.
Sounds good. Can I get one of them New York hot dogs while we're there?
Buddy, it's a different landscape. We'll get you the hot dog, but you got to try the halal stuff out here, bro.
Okay.
We'll get some dude, 56th and 3rd. If you're ever in New York, anybody in New York, go to 53rd and 6th Avenue, the halal guys. They got this thing called chicken, lamb, and rice, right? It's like chicken, rice, lamb, a little bit of tzatziki sauce, a little red hot sauce, a little pita bread, a little salad on the side. Boom! That's where you want to be, my friend.
Ooh, yeah.
That is oh my God. If you don't get there early enough, there's a line that'll take 3 hours. It goes around the block. I mean, like 3,000 people will be waiting online just to get the food. That's how good it is. It's ridiculous. My God, my mouth is watering. I might go get some right now.
I got one more thing. Really exciting. I'm speaking at the Anarchapulco conference. Friday the 23rd of February at Jeff Berwick's conference down in Acapulco. And if you use the coupon code ROOTA, ROOTA, you get 10% off, and you sign up early and get it cheap. And the peso's so cheap down there. It's the hotels are like nothing. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But Bill Murphy's going down. David Morgan's going down, I think, and all the Anarchy guys. You know, the Luke. What's his name? We are change. Yeah. Check it out. Go to anarchapulco.com or just Google it, Anarchapulco, and there's a lot of Bitcoin speakers are going to be there, and basically it's
Tone Vase is going to be there.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun too.
Yep.
I can't wait. I need a vacation, so we're going down for a week, and we'll be partying with the Anarchy guys.
Dude, next year I will join you. I promise, man. This year can't do it, but next year. And also, guys, go to Big Society, type in Ruda, and you get 10% off. Or you can go to Rogue Money and type in Rogue and get 10% off. Either way, we're still supporting. Yeah, we're still supporting Anarchapulco. It's all about supporting the cause here. Next year I will join you in Anarchapulco. And,
you'll have to shave some of that gorilla hair to sit on the beach, though, probably. Huh?
I know, man. I know. I'm gonna have to get myself waxed and ready.
All right, Brazilian.
All the way, baby. It's Brazil or bust. That's it. All right, my man. Okay, everyone. Thank you all for listening in. It's another exciting Hump Day with Bix and V. Where we give you the rundown, the laydown, and the hoedown of everything that's going on throughout the world. With that being said, guys, we'll see you back here next week because that's going to be our post-inauguration show, and it should be absolutely exciting. So keep it tuned here. Smash the subscribe button. Go to Bix's YouTube channel as well. Hit the subscribe button over there. Subscribe to his email letters. Very key piece of intel. I'm on that subscriber list. It is invaluable. And sign up for the Road to Ruta. Get yourself some Bitcoin. You want some Bitcoin? Bix is giving it away.
I am. You got to love that.
Get the Bitcoin. With that being said, we are over and we are out. And I can't say take it away, CJ, because my man CJ is not here. Later, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, hold on. And